What's shaking, cats and kittens? I'm Rob Lee from Getting to the Truth in This Art. And this podcast is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Bazaar. Bazaar is a gift shop for those seeking the strange and unusual. Got morbid curiosity? Got an interest in natural history? Bazaar's got you covered. Bazaar specializes in antique medical equipment, jewelry, prints, funerary antiques, and many other morbid gifts. The inventory is ever-changing. I'm wearing a great death's head moth pin, and I'm enjoying this hand-poured candle called Overgrown Cemetery. It's great. It has the studio smelling awesome. Head on over to 3534 Chestnut Avenue in Baltimore, it's in that Hamden neighborhood, and see what they got to offer at Bazaar. Tell them Rob Lee sent you. Takeout is cool, but delivery gets pricey. So, like a phoenix from the ashes, indoor dining is back at Forged Eatery. I use the analogy because the food is fire. It's a new approach to farm to table. No overalls, just dope food. Try my favorites, like the mushroom stew with pine nuts and ricotta, the cornmeal fried happy oysters, and the seared duck breast. Also, ask about the chocolate chip cookie tins. Mini chocolate chip cookies with a dusting of sea salt. Simply delicious. Head on over to forgedeatery.com to check out the current menu options and make a reservation today. Forged is located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue in Hamden. Welcome to Getting to the Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee, and my next guests are a vocal pop duo that has been dubbed the Queens of Electronic Opera. In Baltimore, we have Britt Olsen-Ecker and Melissa Wimbish. We have Outcalls. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here.
Sometimes I do too much energy and I get ahead of myself.
Oh my God, that was just so fantastic. I loved that.
Just a skosh down, Rob.
No.
So real quick, I like to, for those who've not been initiated, not been dipped, I like to let the guests really describe what they do because they can do it much better than I can. I can just say, oh, you do stuff. But from your vantage point, describe what your work is about and what your backgrounds are.
Like that. What's our work about?
Our work is about singing together as two women and leading a band and writing songs together. We come from a classical music background, but both of us have always wanted to not just sing classical music. We've always been interested in all types of music. And, you know, we found each other about a decade ago and we're in cover bands together. We did Singing Valentines together. And then we, just organically moved into this phase of writing our own music. And it's just been wonderful to see like the culmination of all those years of, arranging songs that weren't ours and how we kind of let that influence the way we arrange songs now. And also how we use our vocal training to make our band just this really vocal heavy, sort of powerhouse. And then lastly, of course, we're friends, and the way that influences our collaborative style and the way we run our business is just a joy. Yes. So that's us.
That's great. And also, because it's rare that I have two guests on at the same time, so just feel free to tag in, just jump in. I don't call
Cool. Yeah.
Great. Of course.
And I think
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry. Hey, Elliot. Yeah. Can you get Jackson to play that upstairs?
Yeah, we're done.
Thank you.
All right, my apologies.
No,
okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It was just distracting me. I don't know if you could hear it.
No, it's all good. Daniel Alexis will be editing this in post. So let me see. I think like it's important when you're able to work with a friend and be able to have like that same kind of like mindset. How important has that been for you to be able to find someone that kind of gets you and then you can create and collaborate with and actually like just do really cool stuff? Like you've had many projects. So how has that been working with a good friend, with your best friend or what have you?
Yeah, it's great. I think there's a lot of good understanding that we have. We know how to communicate with each other, and we've been friends for 10 years now. Oh, I feel like it's been 10 years, if not more. So it's just been a journey of seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And because we've done so many different projects, I think we've really found a good stride in how we work together and what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and how we can play into those and lift each other up even when we're feeling really trapped in those weaknesses.
Yeah, totally. And I think over the years, we've really refined the way we communicate. Of course, when we first started working together, we didn't know each other as well. So, we've just gotten better at it over the years. And I think we've also made such a conscious effort to like be open with each other and to like say uncomfortable things to each other and to have awkward moments. Like we've really worked hard to like not avoid those moments. And I just think it's, you know, and we're kind to each other.
Yes.
You know, and that's really, yeah, it's just the more and more, every single time we come to a new song together, it's just like we've grown in our way of communicating and everything. It's great.
And writing.
Yeah.
Right. And the way that the songs sound different now than the first thing, and also our recording abilities have greatly improved, especially during COVID. That's been really cool.
Yeah. We push each other. We push each other. So it's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of my collaboration with different people I podcast with has just been a bunch of monosyllabics, a bunch of grunts, just like record, and it just works, I guess. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. It's just me. So let's see. Where do you draw from for your artistic expression within music? Like, where do you draw from? Experiences, like other mediums? I've had it was a question that's kind of stuck with me because I had a jazz musician on, and he made the point to tell me that, yeah, I draw inspiration from like other musicians, but I've also drawn inspiration from food. And he made the point to say it's in various places. So where do you draw your inspiration from your work, respectively?
That's a great question. I mean, I think we both reference music videos a lot. Not necessarily maybe a music video that happened, but we reference a music video in our minds sometimes when we're writing a song, like this is what the music video would look like. And, we've both done theater. Britt has done a ton of theater. And I think that is always on our minds. Like, what is this going to look like? How are we going to present it?
What's our dream video?
Yeah.
And in the story of this song, what's happening? So for No King, it was always this sword fight and this like, petticoats and kings, obviously, and
beheading, some beheading, yeah.
But we draw from a lot of experiences. I think a lot of the songs you'll hear on the upcoming album are taken directly from moments we've experienced, people we've met, things people have said to us, and vice versa. Stay, for example, it was drawn directly from an experience Melissa had with an ex-boyfriend, and the song kind of just bloomed from that. So,
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Good.
a song about, the opening line is, remember when you forgot my birthday. Right? Okay, and it's a jam.
Yes.
All right, let me just tell you that.
I know. I love the face you just made. Yes, that did happen. It was. I was saying to Melissa, we did this for a recital she did. We performed it for a recital she did a few weeks ago, and I couldn't stop thinking about when we performed this song for the first time, which was at our album release show back in 2017.
Yep.
And I will never forget her now ex-boyfriend standing in the front row, like with his arms crossed, just looking up at us with this faraway look on his face. And it's a good image to draw on when you're performing that song because you have to have some attitude.
Yeah.
That's a real bonus there, because one of my questions, I didn't have it in this initial grouping, but what's a memorable response to your work? Well,
that is one of them. Yeah,
that is one of them. And many people like after they hear that line in the audience,
yes, they go, oh, and it's so they laugh, and I think that's great. I want it always to be an invitation to react in those ways and laugh and make noise. I think it means it's working.
Totally.
That's dope. That's dope. And
Yeah.
it's actually, you've already kind of touched on the question I had, and I'm going to say it verbatim because why not? What are some projects you've organized or been a part of that you're really excited about?
Oh my gosh, we're obsessing with the album.
Yeah, we're so excited for our next album. It's called Greatest Hits Volume 1. And, it's our third album, and it's already a Greatest Hits album. So let that be,
That's great.
That's
yeah, we were
all you
going
need to
back
know.
and forth, like, should we do a greatest hits? We got some feedback that it might be confusing because, you hear a greatest hits and you're like, okay, I've heard all this music. Well, it's got a lot of new music. But we just thought this is the best way to describe the feeling of the moment, just how cocky we want to project ourselves. And also, all these other songs will be future hits.
Yeah, totally.
So we're very excited about that. Yep, we're getting that all together.
Yeah, and it's really cool putting all of it together. And, some of the material spans from 2017 to 2021. And it's really cool to see. Like, I wouldn't say like, oh, our sound has changed, because our sound has always just been this evolving thing from song to song. But it's really cool to just kind of see this representation of what we've accomplished over that span of time.
Yeah, I was thinking just how far back some of the music comes from. And it's going to be great to have it all together in one physical album.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I'll be remiss if I didn't mention, I enjoyed the recital. I watched it actually a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is great. I don't want to go in blind and like, I got some questions for you.
I'm so glad you watched it.
Yeah. Thank you for watching it. That's great. Well, it was a big project for us.
Big project for Melissa. Melissa did a lot of the work on her own.
Well, Britt did a lot of work too, which was so I'm like, at first I was like, oh, I'll just do it all. I'm so glad Britt was like, girl, let me do a few of these for you.
Let me help. It's just, if you want it to be good, it just is it's painstaking.
Yeah. Especially when you don't really have a lot of video experience,
It's very well done. And definitely, I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thoroughly entertained. I'm in my studio right now with this nice green screen behind me. And I just put it on and just laid on the floor. I was like, oh, yeah, this is great.
Oh, my
nice.
Perfect.
I love that.
To consume.
I just vibe it out. It's great.
That's awesome.
So let's see. Now I'm going to get to some hokey questions. I'm going to get into some ridiculous questions.
Great.
So most useless talent that you have. Yeah.
Belching. I'm a great belcher.
Really?
Yeah. Like I remember belching the ABCs once all the way through.
Excellent.
I used it, but I did use it one time. And what was it? I think it was an opera. Yeah. Well, it was a staged song cycle, whatever. And there was one point where like I was just sitting on a bench and this guy was singing the song to me and I had to belch like on cue. So I guess it's not totally useless, but I would consider it mostly useless.
I can't say I've ever heard Melissa burp in front of me, which is saying something.
I know, right?
I'll expect it. For me, I think I got... Yeah, right, I know. Useless talent. I can do a lot of weird cross-eyed stuff. Like I can cross one eye in and then look out with the other and like freak people out.
Wow.
I think that would be useless. I mean, unless I got cast in some sort of horror flick, but I don't see that in my future.
I mean, that seems like talent, actually. Both of those.
The eye thing, I think, is talent.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll see what. Yeah. We'll see what. Maybe
put that in a music video.
Okay, done. We got there. There'll be an idea for that for sure.
Just dancing in your pupil and just let's do it. Just move to the side.
I want to know what some of the other useless talents are. Like, what is something you've heard that's like, what? Okay, yeah, that's useless.
One that comes to mind, it was an artist that mentioned they had really powerful sass. Like their husband just says, you are the sassiest person. I don't know how useful it is because
that's useful.
It doesn't really work.
Extremely
though.
Useful.
It's like her husband is really nice, so the sass doesn't really work.
That's very interesting. So she sees, or they see it as useless.
I mean, if you can get the sass out, sometimes it's just a matter of getting it out of your system, even if you get no reaction, right? That's what I think.
I dig it. So this is actually very hokey, and it feels a little gauche to ask this, but let's see. Shower singing. Do you sing in the shower? And if so, what songs? What's the go-to songs? What are you doing?
Definitely. I mean, everything.
Outcalls.
Everything. Yeah.
Outcall songs.
Yep.
I sometimes like stuff I'm practicing. Jazz stuff, rhythm stuff. That's recently because I started taking voice lessons again, and my voice teacher's recommendation is just to do these things repetitively. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
Repetitively?
Okay, good. You know, when you hear words, you say words, and you're like, I don't think that was a word.
Yeah, like I did that with fruit the other day.
Yeah, fruit.
It's like fruit.
Fruit's a word.
I know, but fruit.
I know what she means when you say it out loud. You're like, what? That's a word.
Yeah, who came up with that?
Well, anyway, and to answer your question, yes, that's
a good idea. The rhythms. That's a good idea.
She's got great rhythm exercises.
Nice.
I'm loving.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely do. Especially if I have something coming up, because it's just so gratifying to sing in the shower. Because, sometimes you're singing, the steam, you're all like opened up, and, it's usually echoey, and, your voice feels big.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you're in like a really dead space, you forget that you actually have good technique, and then in the shower you're reminded. So it's just like so nice.
It's like always a positive experience,
especially if you can sing, and we can sing. So,
Damn straight.
right.
I do comedy bits in the shower, or sing like old like H-Town or Johnny Gill.
Okay,
love it.
Definitely do comedy bits in the shower, because it's like, as you just said, you want your voice to sound big. I want to act like I'm funny. It's like, you're not a hack, Rob. And I just do my thing in the shower, and it's
You've got a great speaking voice.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Well, thank
Got
you.
a great hosting voice. You yeah,
Thank you. I try. So are there any hobbies that you may dip into, right, that help you kind of rejuvenate that creativity? It's like, all right, I don't really know if I'm in a writing mood. Let me maybe play a video game or something, or maybe let me draw a picture or something. Are there any hobbies that kind of get you back in that space to help you reinvigorate your creative pursuits?
That's a great question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, everybody started fucking gardening last year, right? So
Baking Britt.
I mean, I will just buy a plant. I know it's going to die, but I'll put it in the ground. That's a hobby. I mean, I try. I definitely do my yard work. That's helpful. And like just being outside, and I will definitely get stuff stuck in my head, like songs of ours or songs we're working on while I'm gardening, or I'll get an idea. So that's good. Like when you're not really focusing on it, I think that's what sometimes the ideas start to hit. And definitely, well, smoking weed is a hobby for sure.
Nice.
That helps.
Yeah, and just like doing random, like different workouts. I love doing like a something I don't know how to do. Like I've gotten more like into, let me do this thing that I know I can't fucking do just because I like what it's going to make me not think about the pain of working out or whatever. So like, doing a boxing class, or doing a bar class, or like some kind of dance class that I have no business doing.
I love this. I love this like really introspective look into Melissa's mind, workout mind. That's great. Walking, I guess that's how I get my exercise. So I take really long walks, and I try not to listen to anything on those walks. I just try to go. I don't have my phone, and just kind of observe and think for an hour. Yeah. Today I listened to our album on the walk, and it feels like I blacked out during the walk. Like I didn't take in anything that I was observing. Scenery, people, cars that I typically walk by. And that was a really bizarre experience. Wow. And because I called Melissa right at the end, and then I was like, did I just take a walk? I just did. I don't know what happened though.
That's our music taking you to a different place.
Exactly. I was very focused on that. But that helped, right? But I'm also a gamer. I don't know if I would consider myself
You're a gamer. Bitch is a gamer.
Okay. Well, I'm obsessed with like one game, which is The Legend of Zelda.
Okay, you get it.
Okay, all right. Because I was like, am I a gamer if I just play one game? I've been having this dilemma. But that's when I check out of my life. That's been really helpful. And my husband bought me a Nintendo Switch last year to play this game. And that's helpful for me to just check out for 30, 45 minutes, if I can spare that time, and come back to reality. And that's very helpful to take those mind breaks. Personally.
Yeah. I tried to get into that shit too. I bought myself a Zelda and a Switch Lite, because I knew I wasn't going to be that hardcore, and it's got dust on it. But I'm really determined.
You should smoke.
I know
some weed
I should, but I'm just I tried, and I could not get over that mountain. I was just on that mountain, falling.
It's hard,
falling on the shit, and then that one guy came after me, and I was like, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe that game isn't your thing.
Maybe not, but I'm gonna try.
there's going to be some gamer that's going to be so pissed. It's like, that guy from Zelda, that is Lord Goldbeard.
Right?
Or what have you.
It's so true.
He's like a troll looking thing. He's very colorful and got me. I think he has horns.
He was mad. Boko Blins. I've had a whole conversation. I've had a whole conversation about the way to pronounce that, because people say it's bokoblins, and I'm like, that's not the right way. It's bokoblins.
I agree with that.
Noobs.
This is why I need therapy or something. It's so funny. Oh my God.
Good Lord. I thought of another hobby of mine, which is watching documentaries. I fucking love watching documentaries and just going to sleep. Like, put it on, watch it for like 10 minutes, learn something about like Martin Luther. Uh-huh. He nails up the shit on the door of the church, and then I fall asleep.
Boom.
But it's cool. I learned snippets about everybody.
I watch like Columbo and then go to sleep. I just like, how are you going to solve this? I'm gone. I'm done. I'm going to let Peter Falk do his thing, and I'm going to be in dream.
I think that's great. It's so soothing.
It is.
Hopefully, I don't dream about a murder from the 70s. That's the thing I'm looking for.
Right.
Like, shit, my collars, my lapels.
You gotta check out Poirot. That's like, I want to say 30s. Okay. And it's set in Belgium, maybe. It's so good. This guy's got a mustache. Solving murders.
I know, it's so messed up. I'm reading this book about Hitler right now before bed, and it's like it puts me to sleep, and I'm shocked that I don't like have these really messed up dreams.
I know what you mean.
But I'm learning a lot. It's just not like this is not a pro Hitler book.
She's Jewish.
I'm Jewish. It's the rise and fall of the Third Reich. I'm learning about my people.
I was sitting there, like, what are we doing here?
I know. I did not set that up right.
It reminded me of this. I'm doing this web series. It reminds me of like this intro I did, and we were talking about like making knives, and I was like, I'm going to troll the videographers, and I was like, when you're cooking up crack and you got to cut it up, you need something sharp. They were like, the fuck are you talking about? I was like,
Oh my God, I love it. I know. It's like some people are like, oh God.
I try to interject some of my like personality into it, because everything is a bit to me. And if I can do that, then it's like, that's what's satisfying. And in that, it's a backhanded way to get to my next and penultimate. Well, my next question, I have like two more after this. What is most satisfying about your work? Like coming up with music, writing music, what's most satisfying about it? Is it the performing aspect? Is it the writing process? Is it the collaborative process? Which I said really weird. What's the most satisfying part of your creative process?
It depends. It really depends on what we're working on. Like right today, we were talking about the order of the album. We're like listening to all the tracks right now and deciding what order we want to put them in. And there's just like these moments of just euphoria when you're like realizing how good it is. Yeah. And then there's no audience, there's nothing, but it's just your music. And thinking about the work that you did and whatever, like it all just kind of culminates in this moment where you're like, holy shit. And then there's these moments in the studio where you hear the song for the first time after like the rough mix or whatever, and you're like, holy shit. And then there's the moments where it's like a sold out whatever show and people are screaming and you can't even hear the pitch you're singing. So that's what I love about what we do, is there's so many ways to get that joy. Yeah.
Yep, she nailed it. It just depends on the day. Obviously, we haven't had a real performance in a really long time, which is why I think so many people are writing albums right now and getting that stuff out. But that's really so satisfying right now and really joyful.
I dig it. It sounds like it's just the whole thing. It's not like you're just eliciting joy from this one area, because if you do it for that one area, then if that area is changed or modified, then you're not creating, then you're not getting that endorphin hit or what have you. And I think a lot of people have realized that. And that's why some people been able to pivot during this last year and still try to get their stuff out there in different and unique ways. Like I like a lot of stand-up comedy. And before the shit went down, is where I was recording this podcast in a comedy in a comedy show, what have you, in that space at Big Improv, and I used to record there all the time. And when this shifted, I was like, all right, let me do a process of converting the home into more of a studio, having the green screen and having some of this stuff set up to be equipped to kind of get a decent conversation, a decent interview. And it's been going well. But if I wasn't able to do that, and it's like, well,
If it's not there at this comedy club, then it's not good. It's not what I wanted to do, bro. And it's like, just get the process, talking to people, getting to know people, learning about their creative process is very important, because listening to creatives, I get a lot of energy from. It's like, yeah, you do that shit. Hell yeah, do that shit. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Totally. No, I think it's great. It feels good to have it change from day to day, that joy and that fever of just feeling like something's really good and something's good that's happening, or something is good that's I can't talk right now.
You made sense.
It's like fruit all over again.
Fruit.
Word.
So I got two more questions. Locally, and this is a little broader, locally and pie in the sky, as broad as possible, who would you most likely want to collaborate with?
Oof, that's a great question.
Locally. Should we do that first?
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, it's hard to narrow it down.
Another artist we love.
Yeah. I was immediately thinking of those that flower place.
Oh my goodness!
Which I can't remember. That Steel Cut Flowers. I think it would be really cool to do like a video with them. Yeah, like using flowers.
We had talked a long time ago about doing like a bluegrass album.
Yeah,
and collaborating with artists that specialize in playing that sort of music. I think that would be. I think any sort of like genre that we would want to dabble in, it would be great to go to the top people in those genres and say, hey, we want to try this.
Right, because our whole thing is give us whatever, we can sing whatever, like anything, and we can sound like we need to sound in that genre, not that whatever. Anyway, that's the thing. So it would be, I think one of our goals is like, we're doing this album of greatest hits. We also like have a live album that we're working on, and why not have this collection of repertoire that really shows how we can fluidly, I don't know, what's the fucking thing I'm trying to say? How we can seamlessly fucking go from genre to genre and sing the shit out of things. Okay, There you go. That's the best way I can say it. Yeah. I remember the idea of doing like an acoustic album.
We've worked with so many great people, and the great thing about Baltimore is there are so many amazing artists in the city who, if we ever reached out to them, I feel like the Baltimore spirit is like, yes, and
they're open.
Let's do it.
Super open.
Let's work on something together.
Yeah.
But like Pie in the Sky, I was just like, I don't know why this came into my mind, but I would want Ariana Grande to produce an album for Outcalls.
Wow.
Like that would be incredible. But it would be her. Not her, the people who work for her or whatever, but that, like, some artists that we admire, and I admire Ariana Grande. She's not, like, maybe the top, but, like, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Pop artist.
Yeah. Right, to see, like, what they came up. Oh, my God, Bruno Mars.
Describe, real quickly, your Baltimore. Like, how do you see Baltimore from your vantage point? And then we'll go into some shameless plugs, and then we'll wrap.
I think it's really important for people in positions of power that we have elected to invest in the arts community in Baltimore. I think those conversations are happening right now. From what I understand, the General Assembly voted on some sweeping measures to get funding to artists. And I just think it's really important that we continue, like, to press on our leaders to fund us, because we are vital to the community, and we all know we are, especially because COVID has really made that even more apparent. And I also feel like along with those moves to like fund the arts, we also have to like tackle the very real problem of fucking white supremacy and sexism in our industry, and people need to be put in positions of power to really tackle those problems head on. It can't just be this glossing over and this conversation we continue to have that doesn't result in any action, because it's continuing to keep artists like us down. And I think not only is it just keeping us down like spiritually, but it's also like fucking up our whole industry and like our fiscal industry, if that makes sense. Like there's no reason we shouldn't be thriving as a city. And I think that there's like there's action that people are actively suppressing the arts here. And and it's just a problem. We've heard this question not posed in this way necessarily, like what Baltimore do you envision, but we've heard the question like, what is Baltimore's music scene like? We've heard that question so much over the years, and like this concept of why is Baltimore like always this underground sort of place? And it's fucking not. It's not an underground place. It's a fucking underfunded place. And it's a place that's treated like trash.
Underappreciated.
Yeah. And it's a direct result of white supremacy that's happening. So that's
a great answer. And it's an honest answer, and I agree with it. And it's I've asked that question in kind of a different way in multiple podcasts, and it kind of gets down to pretty much the crux of what's happening here. Because, oftentimes Baltimore doesn't get what it deserves in terms of recognition and so on. And those few, I always describe it as, we're told that there's a pie that has 8 slices. There's not. There's probably 3 slices, but we're told that there's 8, and we're all fighting for that 8. But 2 of those 3 that are actually sitting there are already earmarked, so you're really just fighting for 1 slice.
Yeah.
And it has all of the stuff in there. All of this is the secret sauce of there. It's baked into the pie. It's the racism, the systemic racism, the sexism. All of that stuff is baked in there, and it's like, have at it, fight for it. You're an artist, go ahead and do it. And that needs to change.
Definitely. There's so much greatness here, and I'm really sick of this attitude of Baltimore having to prove itself.
Always.
Baltimore has proven itself. It doesn't take. It's clear to see that anybody who attends a show here, anybody who makes art here, knows that we have great shit happening here.
I said this the other day, and it's probably spicy and all of that stuff, because, and occasionally I get to become Spicy Rob. But I was like, for all of these vendors that have a certain aesthetic or certain energy that are popping up in Lexington Market, I was like, wasn't it already like the world famous Lexington Market before? All right,
yep,
cool,
that's a problem.
Got it. And like,
oh my gosh! Every time I see one of those posters that says like apply to be a vendor, it like hurts my soul.
Yeah.
To think of the people who had businesses in there.
Yep.
Who are not. I don't know what the situation is. I'm speaking purely from just an observing standpoint, but. It's weird. It's very strange. I'll be very curious to know what is going to become of that place.
$42 pizzas. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Did you see that tweet about Cross Street Market?
I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
24-inch pizza, though? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big-ass pizza.
It's designed to keep people out of there that can't afford
Baltimore's not known for their pizza.
Right.
They should be known for their music, not the pizza.
I had this same assessment I looked at as this part of the Inner Harbor that's like over there on Key Highway, and I was just like, this looks like a gallery, and this is the imagery. I was like, they're gonna have like some weird curfew or some bullshit. You gotta have an ID to come in. It's just gonna be just coded bullshit of like, oh, you're black essentially, but they can't say that. Oh, what's your zip code before you can come in here? But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, it's like what we're seeing with all the dress code drama with the Atlas Restaurant Group.
Yeah.
I have a podcast about that a little bit later.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, it's just very telling. It's very telling. They're telling on themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's having that gumption and the desire to say, yeah, this is who we are. Here's some bureaucracy. Enjoy.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
But leaving it.
Yeah. It's the last thing I was going to say was just sometimes it surprises me that that's in Baltimore. You would think it wouldn't be, but it fucking is, and it shouldn't be a surprise. And I think there are enough of us. There are enough of us to make something happen. It's just going to take a lot of work.
So in closing, again, I want to thank you both for coming onto this podcast. And here's an opportunity to shamelessly plug website, all of the stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, our website is www.outcallsband.com. And you can find all of our social handles on the website. We've got an album coming out September.
Yes.
That's the projected date. I think we're going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to happen. I mean, the songs are done.
More music
just
could
being
to be
picky.
coming before that, though. We're going to have an outdoor show at the Auto Bar, actually.
Yep.
Within the next few months. Date TBD.
This is airing in June.
Fuck.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
So we probably will have played that show, so never mind.
Right.
Just go to the website.
Talk about the album.
Yeah.
Album's a good idea.
Album, yes. Greatest Hits Volume 1 coming out September. And any shows that we're going to be playing will be available at outcallsband.com.
And we have a Spotify. We've got a Bandcamp. If Bandcamp is still doing Bandcamp Fridays at this point in time, definitely check us out on that because we have new music up.
There you have it. Britt, Melissa, thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it was really just a delight to talk with you.
Thanks. So for Outcalls, I'm Rob Lee saying that there's art in and around Baltimore. Just got to look for it.